How's it going, guys? I'll be right with you. I gotta find my earrings though. I misplaced them. I think they're in this chest. Oh, that's right. I'm doing my short tell episode on Zelda. That way, therefore, every time I open this chest, hear that sound. Now I wonder what kind of sound I'll hear if I take out my earrings and hold them above my head. Oh, I gotta have some fun. Anyway, how's it going, guys? Me again with another short tale episode doing the Legend of Zelda. This is all the enemies in the game. I think it's all of them. Yeah, should be all of them. All the ones in the main, like in the overworld. So, man, what can you say about Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo Entertainment System? Hands down, all around, probably the best game ever made on the NES. Mario 3 is close. Punch-Out is just one of my favorites. I mean, as far as being globally popular, it's hard to beat Zelda. You can't really beat it. There are so many sequels to this game. And there's no point me doing a review on it. Like, there really is no point. It's so popular. You can get, you guys can go to any other website, any other YouTube channel, and get a far better review than I could ever do with my little editing skills that I possess. But what I will do, I will tell you about my memories of it as a child and what I think of the series so far and how far it's come. First played Legend of Zelda. It was probably like the third or fourth game I played on the NES. At first glance, I didn't like it. It looked like one of those, like a strategy puzzle game, like where no action. The game starts out, and I'll put it right here. The game starts out, you walk up and you see these stairs, and you go down the stairs and you see this guy, and he says, "It's dangerous to go alone. Take this with you," or whatever he says. So you get the sword and you're like, okay, got a sword. So I'm already interested in this game because it has a sword. I've always loved swords. So you get your sword, and the way you attack is kind of weird because it's an overhead view. So all you see is Link thrusting the sword out. You see him pushing the sword out. There's no swinging, there's no slashing, it's just a straight thrust. Now, what's interesting is when you have full health and you thrust, you actually shoot like this, I can't even describe, it's like a hologram of the sword off, and it goes in a projectile fashion and it attacks the enemies, it hits the enemies. And you'll get two more swords. You'll get the white sword and then you'll get the magical sword, which is the one that you need to defeat Ganon. And I've heard people like not even using the sword to beat the game. Like I've heard people like they just don't even get the sword and they use bombs and the boomerang. That's hardcore right there. The game's already hard enough. But people love a challenge. That's just the way we are. We love challenges. So I remember playing it and I got into it and it was really hard. Like, it's one of the first games I remember having to have a strategy guide for, and I apologize if this video goes past 9 minutes. That's my goal, is to be done talking about 9 minutes. But Zelda, I get talking about Zelda, and I don't shut up for a while, so just be comfortable. But I remember having the strategy guide. Well, actually, it was Nintendo Power. This is a Nintendo Power game. If you've never heard of those, Castlevania 2 is a Nintendo Power game. In other words, you need some kind of help to beat the game. There's no way you're going to figure it out unless you have some help. Unless you're just a crazy genius. I wasn't at the time. I'm still not a crazy genius. But anyway, I remember playing it and it really frustrated me. Like the dungeons, a lot of times you couldn't figure out where to go. You had to know to bomb a certain wall. And that's where the meme comes from. You see this thing on Facebook. It's like a brick wall, and you see one section of bricks looks different, and like the caption says, I bet there's a secret behind this wall. Zelda started all that stuff. And what's really annoying is, especially from the new kids, you know, they think the guy that you play as is named Zelda. No, the princess that you save is Zelda. You play as a character known as Link. Now what's interesting about Link is they don't really mention his name in the entire game, like ever. They actually call you what you put in as your alias or your name for the game, you know, for your save file. And even in like later games like Ocarina of Time, actually I think A Link to the Past on Super NES is what started the whole, they used your actual name. So say you walk up to a person in a town and they go, well, my name is ABCDFG, what is your name? You don't say Link, you'll say like Seth or whatever you chose your save file to be saved under. And it's really in depth. Like, the game makes you think. It's not a game that you can play casually unless you've already beaten it 100 times. To this day, I could probably go in there and play it and still get lost. And I've been playing it for 30 years. I could go in there right now like, I can't remember how to do this. I can't remember where to go. But I'm sure that every gamer has played Zelda at some point in time. And there are those that don't like it. There are those that, hey, it sucks, it's not my thing, and that's fine. You know, not everyone likes everything. That's fine. But the majority, I'd say probably 98 out of 100 people that are gamers absolutely love Zelda. Now the second game, and if you've never played it, or if you haven't played it in a long time, I don't want to spoil it or actually waste my time telling you about it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. But the second game is the only direct sequel to the first game. If I'm going by the Zelda timeline, like the timeline in this series is all screwed up. They have said certain games take place before other games, and this, that, and the third. And we as gamers, we just learned that, you know what, we don't care what happened before or after the game we're in. We just want to enjoy playing the game, and that's what we usually do. We just play the game. But the second one is not an overhead view; it's more of a side-scrolling. And you start out in the temple where Zelda is asleep. Now, supposedly, this isn't the same Zelda from the first game. I'm going way, way off the deep end. Like I said, Zelda is a very in-depth topic, so I'm going to try to cut it short. But basically, the gameplay is different. Here's some gameplay right here. I'll put it in the up right here so you guys can see it. But it's an overhead view. I'm sorry, it's a side-scrolling view. Even in the dungeons and temples, the only overhead view is when you're walking on the main map and you're going from destination or town to town or temple to temple or whatever. And now this is the first one that introduced the actual towns, and it became like famous after this. Like, I think every Zelda game after this had towns in it, which is really cool. Because it really kind of made no sense in the first game. If you think about it, you're going over this mystical land known as Hyrule, but there's nobody living there except that one crazy old guy who waits for kids in a dungeon. I mean, what is with that guy anyway? I mean, come on. You see a kid wearing green walk down your stairs and you want to give him a phallic-shaped object? Creepy. Anyway, in the second one, like I said, the towns were introduced, and they all have secrets. Like, you can jump down some of the chimneys. There's always this task that you have to do in the second game to learn a special magic power or move or something. Now in the third one, I'm only going to go to Ocarina of Time because the last ones I haven't really played that much. And the third one goes back to the overhead view, which I think, at least on the older systems, it suits the whole game better. It goes back to, like I said, the overhead view, and Ganon looks like Ganon again. In the second one, you don't fight Ganon. You don't even see Ganon until you die. And here's the ending screen for that. Annoying laugh, huh? Anyway, in the third game, it's called A Link to the Past, and it's on Super Nintendo. NES only had one Zelda game. Two Zelda games, I'm sorry. And then the Super NES only had A Link to the Past. So in A Link to the Past, you finally learn who you are as Link, like how the whole thing started. But once again, the timeline's kind of messed up. So if you already fought Ganon, hey, are you about to fight Ganon? What's going on? And it would take me forever to explain the game, so I'm just going to give you the broad stroke of it, and then I'm going to go to Ocarina of Time. So you start out in your house, and you're woken up by, I guess it's your father, your uncle, your grandfather, whatever. He takes off to rescue the princess who just contacted him telepathically some kind of way. He gets killed or injured in the dungeon, and you take up his sword and shield, and then off there you go. Off you go to save the princess. Now, this one is far, far more in depth than the other two, if you can believe that. You have two worlds in this one, the light world and the dark world. And you'll go back and forth between them. It's really, really cool. And I first played it in 1997, many years after it had been released on the Super Nintendo. So I was way behind on this one. I guess I was just kind of scared to give it a chance. And that kind of goes back to my old thing, never be afraid to try new things. But anyway, now probably my favorite Zelda game is Ocarina of Time. Man, you talking about bridging a gap, like, not bridging a gap, but making a huge leap from one system to the next as far as graphics and music and gameplay and everything else. Going from the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 64 was a humongous leap. It was like the moon landing, one small step for mankind, how does it go? But it was amazing, and to this, right now, you look back at it, it's like, that's not really good graphics, but at the time, it was amazing. It was the first, 3D all-around Zelda game we ever experienced, and we were just blown away by it. But we were wondering, is it just going to be all graphics, or is there gameplay? Oh yes, there was some amazing gameplay in this game. Beautiful music, the story was perfect. If I could ever say there's one perfect video game in this world, it would have to be The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. It was flawless. The only problem in the game, and I'm sure everyone will agree, is a pain in the ass. It's not really a problem, it's just a pain in the ass. It's the frigging water temple. I know. I'm gonna give you guys a second to do just woosah, because that thing drove us crazy back in 1998. I believe that's when it came out. I remember I got my copy around Thanksgiving, so I'm sitting there on the floor in my bedroom. I'm like 18, I was 19 at the time. I still lived at home. So I got my Thanksgiving plate right here beside me, right? And I'm scarfing down turkey and dressing, and I'm trying to get my way through this dungeon and shit, so that's my memories of the game. But it lasted a long time. It was a long game. And once again, you had two worlds to go between. Not really a light and a dark, but a past and a present, which is why it's called Ocarina of Time. Because you use this flute, or an ocarina, to actually travel, to open up stages. And now that I think about it, you don't really use the ocarina to travel between back in time. You use your sword in the Temple of Time. Never thought about that till now. Anyway, this is also, I think it's the second time, I believe the first time was in Link to the Past, where Link is referred to the hero of time. Meaning he's a time traveler, basically. But anyway, he goes back and forth between time and Ocarina of Time, and like I said, the graphics at the time were amazing, the music, and being that you use an ocarina, there's some beautiful melodies. Like one of my favorite ones is when you're on this ranch and you have to play a certain tune to get the horse to like you so you can ride the horse in the game. And it's just, I love the game. I'm probably going to go get it started up again after this video, because now that I think about it, I actually want to play it again. Now, there was plenty of Zelda games after that, and Majora's Mask, people like it, I didn't care for it. I didn't like the game that much. It was annoying to me. Now here we go with the Nintendo Wii, and now I'm going to shut up about Zelda. So, there was 2 games on the Wii, and one was Twilight Princess and one was Skyward Sword. Both played really, really different and similar at the same time. Now this is where I stopped playing Zelda games, because I didn't like using that Wii remote thing where you gotta swing it around your head and stuff. I mean, I want to sit there and use a pad like the one on my head here and just play the game. That's what I want to do. I don't want to get up and dope-si-do and, you know, all that kind of crap. I just want to sit there, have my beer, and play my game. But the games were fun. They were really, really long. I never did beat either one of them. I probably need to go back there and play them again. I never did beat them. But Twilight Princess kind of got on my nerves. I didn't care for the character that was following you around. I missed, I can't think of the name of the fairy that follows you around, but there was a fairy that follows you around during that time, so I missed her. I think it was Navy, whatever. Anyway, she helps you out a lot in the game. Like, she would tell you with targeting the enemies and stuff like that. And the Skyward Sword one, I hated that game. I hated the flying parts because it forced you to use the Wii remote to turn it like this, and like you're using a screwdriver, but you're trying to guide this stupid dragon horse thing that you're flying around on. And the new one, I haven't played it yet. I haven't even watched the review on IGN. I haven't even given it a chance because I don't have a Nintendo Switch yet. Keyword is yet. I'll probably be getting that very soon just to have that new Zelda game. I really only buy the new Nintendo consoles just for Zelda. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm sure you guys have your own stories, your own memories of playing Legend of Zelda as a kid and growing up, and even to this day. And whatever your favorite one is, we're all still part of the Zelda family. And I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Once again, we will see you next time. Peace and say my name. You guys have a great one.